Hello, book nerds! Welcome back to another video. Still have an incomplete background. So my bookshelves will be here shortly, and then we will start to put all the aesthetically pleasing stuff together. But for now, we've got this little make-do shelf. So welcome in. Today, we are going to be talking about all of the books that I read in June. And I think it was a pretty good month. I'm going to have to remind myself of a lot of these. So let's just get into it. So in the month of June, I read 10 books, and I'm just going to go in order. Got my Goodreads up of what I read when first till the end of the month. So the first book that I finished up in June was Dungeons and Drama. This was a reread for me. I was trying to re-review it, see if I wanted to keep it on my shelves or not, and I think that my answer is probably no. This book is not bad, but there's so many things in it that drives me insane. The main premise of the book is that this girl stole her mom's car without permission when she only has a learner's permit and drove hours away to go see a musical. And their solution to this as parents is, oh, we're going to be so hard to make you work at your dad's store after school. Like, my mind could not comprehend the sheer awfulness of parenting in this book. The lack of discipline, like the lack of, oh my gosh, it was so bad, so bad. The romance is kind of cute, but it is a YA, so it's very YA, and there are some side gay characters in this also, which I do not prefer to read at all. So all in all, it's technically clean, it's YA, but it's not something that I want my girls to really read. I like the theater and the D&D aspects because that was me and my husband, but if I ever really get the urge, I can pick it up at the library or something. So I don't think this is going to stay on my shelves, but I did reread it. So, and it's a super cute cover. All right, the next book that I finished up in the month of June was The Turquoise Table by Kristen Schell. This is a Christian nonfiction all around and centered around like hospitality, but it's more about like simplistic hospitality and how hospitality is not this thing that the world has made. It's just super little short things, some stories. It's got some recipes in it. It's got some like pictures. So it was a really easy and quick one. And as a mama of 3 little girls who are very young right now, it was refreshing and it was nice because that's the type of hospitality I thrive for. And it really helped with like some practical ideas and ways that you can kind of implement and try to live that out. So I really enjoyed this one. I gave it a 4 stars. All right, and then the next book that I read was actually a children's chapter book, and that was Princess Cora and the Crocodile. This is by Laura Ann Schultz, I think. I might have said her name wrong, but I was like, you know what? My child is like little over halfway through her like learning to read books, so she's starting to catch on and read some stuff, and I'm really needing to start looking for like early on chapter books and stuff like that she can read and that we can do with school or outside of school and stuff like that. So I picked up this one because I thought it looked cute, and it was cute in a way. I only gave this a 2.5 stars, so it was cute. The issue was not that it wasn't cute, but it did have some, when coming from a parent's perspective, like learning and like proper lessons, some of those were like not very good or well done in this, I think. It was silly and I enjoyed reading it for sure. I giggled a couple times, like it was cute. But the issue of the story is that this girl's parents are just so overbearing. And so throughout the story, her parents are wrong. And this crocodile comes and bites her parents and it magically fixes things. And I'm like, from a child's perspective, that might be what you take from the story. Even though that's not all, but that is like the overarching, like what happens kind of. And in the end, like, yes, the parents were wrong, but it's not necessarily the first thing you want to be teaching your kids is that your parents might be wrong and you might just need to get a pet to bite them to straighten them out. Like, that's not a good lesson. So I gave it a 2.5 stars because of that reason, because I felt like it's not like strong or good on moral lesson and like teaching and stuff for kids, but it is a silly little tale. If your kid's a bit older and like knows and can tell, it could still be a good one, for you guys, or to use as like a so what's wrong here? What what do we not do? um, Within the story. We don't get a crocodile to bite people, okay? As much as I, as a child, wanted a crocodile to bite people, I never wanted one to bite my parents, so. All right, and then the next I read Heroes, Dreamers, and Saints. 165 is True Stories of Faith and Courage. I don't remember who this was by, but this was a NetGalley arc that I got, and it's 365 devotionals. I've been reading this for a couple of months, trying to read like a handful a day, couple in the morning, couple at night type of thing to get through it. I enjoyed it. It's not fully, as it says, of faith and courage. Not every single person in the book is Christian, I don't believe. And some of them they're of different faiths, which I personally enjoyed because for a child, just to kind of teach them like the good aspects, even if you don't completely agree with everything on a certain faith. If you're, for instance, Protestant, and they have a Catholic in there. Well, it's not like everything a Catholic does is evil or wrong or, et cetera, et cetera. Even when you have differing faiths and things, some things are. So I enjoyed that. It showed the good aspects. It showed the good things that we can all glean and learn from each other. I really liked that. I think it's a good little devotional. I don't think I had much problem with this. It had like 1 to 3 short paragraphs about the person. It had a little fun fact, and then it had a short little verse. Oh, no, not a verse. It had a short little like prayer at the end, like that kind of went with it. And it's geared towards kids ages 8 to 12, I believe. I think the biggest thing is that there is a good bit of repetition in this and repetitiveness on and off. It wasn't like overbearing in any way, but there was some of the same message. And that's not always the worst thing for kids, because sometimes kids need to be told something 365 times before it sticks. So not necessarily bad. I gave this one a 4 stars also, I believe. So I think it would be a pretty good devotional, especially if you want to kind of like just have a broad teaching. It doesn't go very deep, but I think you definitely could, if you wanted to go deep on some of these people, kind of, use the brief little thing in your daily devotional, and then you could like go deep on one every week or every month or something like that you pick out from it. I think that would be really cool and something I've definitely thought about with this one. So, all right, the next book that I read was The Girl Upstairs by Jessica R. Patch. This is a thriller. I don't think it's considered like a Christian thriller. I think it's just a clean thriller, but I think she's a Christian author. It's like published through one of the like clean Christian publishing houses. Anyway, so this was interesting. This was twisty. I guessed and saw some things from a mile away. But it stumped me on some of the smaller twists in between all of those. So that was enjoyable. I don't always get stumped or like be like, oh, one of those twists I wasn't expecting. So I like it when there's something I'm not expecting in this book. It goes very heavily on the haunted house kind of vibes in this. It's almost as if it makes the house a character within itself. And this really reminded me of Pet Sematary by Stephen King. Not as dark and quite sinister, but just the way that the house was talked about was very eerily similar to the same kind of like way it was written and made me feel in Pet Cemetery about the cemetery being like a character in of itself in a way. So I thought that was kind of like an interesting connection. So if you've liked that book by him, or you've thought, oh, I want to read that, but there's too much content or whatnot, this would be a bit of a cleaner one to check out for sure. There are still a lot of content warnings within this, so look down below and check that, but they're all done pretty well. For the most part, it's pretty clean. It also has some like cold case type of like mystery vibes to it, and I really enjoy those types of things. And I actually liked the ending of this thriller, which I don't say a lot with thrillers. I really liked the twist and I liked how it ended. And there is very, very light faith themes just a couple of times throughout this. I honestly thought they were done pretty well. And hear me out. I know it's barely there and it's kind of like weird every now and then, but considering that this is a thriller and what we're focusing on, I felt like how little and how light and just the way that she did it was the most natural that you kind of could do it for a thriller story like this. And I feel like it also makes it to where if you're not a Christian, you could pick it up and you could get a little hint and be like, like just a little seed in your mind. So I liked it personally. I think I also gave this one a 4 stars. But I did enjoy this one and would suggest this one if you're into thrillers, but liked a bit more on the cleaner side. All right, and then the next one that I read was on audiobook, and that was Emma M. Lyon, Volume 6. We're chugging along. Honestly, shout out to my girl Alma because if I had not been buddy reading this with Alma, I definitely would have stopped like a while ago. It kept me invested to buddy read this with someone, and I am so much more invested now than I was the first couple of volumes. Even 5 and 6 have just been it for me. This one was so much fun. This was another 4 stars for me, and there was just so much going on in this one. There was so much chaos and laughs and just drama and things, and that ending. I'm ready. I'm ready for the next one, guys. I'm ready to dive in. All right, and then next we have Ink and Ivy by Ashley Willingham. This was a new release this month, and I actually pre-ordered this one, which I think no, it's not my first book that I pre-ordered, but it's one of like the first because I've only done it not even a handful of times yet. So, and I was not disappointed, guys. I was not disappointed. I got a 5 star again this month with Ink and Ivy. Oh my goodness, it was just so dang stinking cute. The cozy fantasy vibes. It surprised me too because it kind of like took different turns than I was thinking it was going to take, but I loved it. This is also very Christian, like on page scripture, a lot of like in real life talk about it. And it was so well done. She does put like our faith and she doesn't change it for this fantasy world. And she has an explanation within the book. And I liked that explanation. I thought it was a really cool and nice explanation that I hadn't seen in like fantasy books before. So I personally loved it. I adore this cover. I am like all for it. Oh my goodness. It was just the cutest dang thing. I don't even know like what vibes you're looking for. I mean, they're all there. They're all there. All right, next I needed another audiobook because we started packing a lot. And I picked up Tramp for the Lord by Corey Ten Boom. So this is one that kind of takes place after The Hiding Place, like some of like more of her life and her story of what she's going around and doing and talking and stuff like this. I gave this one a 4.5. I didn't quite love it as much as The Hiding Place, but it was still a really solid read. There's definitely a lot of like wisdom and stories and stuff that's like really hits you and is convicting and inspiring. There are some things in this like I didn't 100% agree with the theology wise, but very little threads there here and there. I really enjoyed it. I think it's another one that like anybody can enjoy and get something from, so I definitely would recommend it. I realize I have not been doing quotes at all because I don't have all my quotes written out this time, but I did have a quote actually on this one that I had written down on my phone. And that is, what I have to say is of no importance. Let me tell you, the Son of God has to say. And I really, really liked that one. There was also another one. See, I write them down sometimes. That said, then I remembered that obedience never said yes, but yes, Lord. Just some of her words are just love Love Corey Ten Boom, so highly recommend that one. All right, and then next, I actually got another 5 stars, guys, and that was Short Straw Bride by Karen Whittemire, and this was my first Karen Whittemire, so I was like, oh my goodness, and I was in such a happy puddle, a happy little bubble this whole book. I had such a great time, and I actually do have a quote for this one too. Look at me, just having quotes for the last couple, apparently. If you want to protect me, Travis, prayer is just as powerful a weapon as the gun that you carry. I really liked that. Okay, but this was hilarious. I was like cackling at things. I was repeating and like reading out lines to my husband. I was like talking about things with my husband, and this does like focus heavily on marriage. Okay. And I've heard that some people do not like how she does this. There's literally like they're talking about like she wants to be with her husband in truth. She wants to be a true wife. And I thought it was beautifully done. I, I don't think that's too much at all. The book is about like there's other plot lines and mystery and drama going on, but the book is about these two committing to marriage and then not committing to marriage and not becoming man and wife as God intended, and her really struggling with that. And I loved seeing that. Okay, women do not talk about this, or it's just like, oh, it's the whole whatever of like, well, women don't want sex. I'm a Christian woman. My Lord and Savior made me to have sex with my husband, and I love my husband. I love having sex with my husband. Okay, so sue me, shoot me down. Oh well. But anyway, I really enjoyed this one, but you can check out the content warnings down below. And then the last and final book, which I don't think I have a quote for this one either. I'm sorry that I had quotes for some and not for others. I will try to make sure I have quotes in July, now that I will have like all my stuff and organized by then. But the last and final book that I read was Return of the King by J.R.R. Tolkien. I finished it. I finished the trilogy finally. Will I ever read this again? I don't know. I'm very excited to watch through the movies again. We got to finish our Marvel marathon watch through first, and then we'll probably take a little bit of a break and then dive into the Lord of the Rings movies and probably the Hobbit movies too, just because, but I'm so excited because it's been so long and I love these movies. And I think this was honestly like the thing that I got most enjoyment out of was I know the movies so well that like I knew what was going on in the books, and I liked seeing some line by line or some that was like, oh well, this is different, or oh, they switched this and they put this before this instead, when in the book it's like this. Like I liked that aspect. That was honestly one of the most enjoyable aspects of reading through it for me. But I don't and this is one of my husband's favorite books, so sorry baby, but I do not jive with J.R.R. Tolkien's writing style very well. The Hobbit is my favorite, and I will probably reread that one. But I don't love his writing style, and I'm not going to like. I don't know. Maybe I'll like it more when I'm older, but I'm not here for it. My husband's over here trying to read the Silmarillion and all the other in the out universe thing, and I'm like, no, thank you. Okay, guys, so that is the 10 books that I read this month. I don't really know what my favorite was because Ink and Ivy and Short Straw Bride were both so different in their own ways. I loved both of them so much. I don't know which one would have been my favorite. And yeah, I'm not sure which one is my least favorite. I know, like, rating wise, the children's book, Princess Cora and the Crocodile, was like my least favorite. But that, I don't know. I feel like I found more enjoyment in that technically than I did probably from Dungeons and Dramas. So I feel like that might have been my least favorite, honestly. But yeah, my reading month was pretty good, pretty fun, pretty chaotic. I was hoping to finish up some more at the end of the month, and then things got crazy. So, but I'm very, very happy with the 10 that I did finish. And I'm sorry this video is coming so late. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite read from the month of June, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!